The following program contains shockingly brilliant insights. If you suffer from a lack of dark sunglasses, Randall may not be right for you. Check with your optometrist.
What are you looking at?
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
This breaking news just coming in, folks. There's been a horrible political train wreck. It appears that the Affordable Care Act is not going to survive. Is that possible? It appears that the Affordable Care Act is not affordable. There's no care being given with it, and it was an act all along. Members of Congress right now are deciding whether or not there should be a mercy killing. Euthanasia. Put it out of its misery. Shoot it. Welcome to the show. You have to know that this was a huge debacle, a huge political gaffe when the president said, well, maybe we've made a mistake. Maybe you can go ahead and keep your insurance for another year. Can you imagine? You're an insurance company. You're somebody in the mailroom. You've just sent out 1 million cancellation notices. 1 million. Told people, you're done. Your coverage is over. We're so sorry. And then the president goes on TV and blindsides you and says, well, I'm going to issue an executive order. I've got the authority to do that. And go ahead, keep your insurance for a year after all. Really? We're going to send out another 1 million? We're going to have to rewrite all the code? We're going to have to reinstall the software? We're going to have to bring all these people back into our fold who we've just canceled? All right, let's look at a couple things and mock, because mockery is something that this deserves. If you are upset about this, all right, there are 5 million people right now who have gotten cancellation notices, and there are a little bit over 100,000 that have signed up for Obamacare and gotten a new insurance plan, all right? 100,000 got a new insurance plan, 5 million have been canceled, and just shy of 400,000 people have signed up for Medicaid. Now, see, that's the funny part. Medicaid, this is a rabbit trail, but I'm going to take it. They changed the parameters of how people can get in on Medicaid. So all this did was create a new part of the bureaucracy where people can come to Uncle Sam, can be like the little piggies and just get up there close to Mommy Piggy, get some of that government lactation. I'm trying to be discreet, okay? Anyway, that's where the growth is happening. These are people that are now getting free health care. I mean, you have to pay for it if you're a taxpayer. I have to pay for it if I'm paying taxes. But for the actual insurance trade that's going on, what are these things called, Lane, at the state level? The not brokerage houses. There's a name for it. Exchanges, the insurance exchanges. The teleprompter wasn't working. There's only been about 100,000 people that have signed up. This is a debacle. Now, if you are mad about this, you should be. People are calling us, writing us, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Call the number on the screen, all right? That is the number of the General Switchboard in Washington, D.C. You can call up both of your U.S. senators, and you can call up your House of Representatives. If you don't know who they are, tell them the state you live in or tell them your zip code, and they'll patch you through. And then say, I am a voter, and I am demanding that Congressman so-and-so or Senator so-and-so vote to overturn Obamacare. 100% overturn it, get rid of it. If you've got somebody who represents you who is still a supporter of Obamacare, then when the next people come along in the election cycle and say that they want your vote, ask them a simple question. Will you vote yes or no for the complete overturn of Obamacare? Yes or no? See? or no? Ja or nein? La or na'am? That last one was Arabic, by the way. La and na'am. I do not believe in euthanasia, but I will make an exception now. I don't believe in mercy killings, but I am willing to suspend my ethical framework long enough to see Obamacare injected with a lethal dose. Every day in America, over 3,500 babies are torn apart by abortion. Shouldn't all babies, like this living, unborn child, have the right to life? Baby killing will only end when Americans see the truth of what abortion does to innocent children. You can help end this Holocaust by showing the truth of abortion in your area with a Face the Truth tour. Go to FaceTheTruthAmerica.com to set up a Face the Truth tour in your area. The babies and their mothers will be eternally grateful. How would you like to be able to reach hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of potential customers with your product or your company or your web-based business? Well, you can do that right here on this show. Every single day, we get phone calls or letters or orders online from states all over the country where people are watching this television show. Right now, we are seen in 45 cities at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time every night, and then a rerun again at 12:30 midnight. You can reach them using this show at advertising rates that are so inexpensive, it would blow your mind. So, if you're interested, contact us at the phone number that you see on the screen or the email address, and we can talk about how you can grow your business and help support this show. Hi, friend, I'm Randall Terry. George Washington said, "Guard against imposters of pretended patriotism."
Mabel, hurry up and get in here. Terry Randall's going to talk to us about how we got poison in the well.
This guy's great.
What's that? Oh, yeah, Randall Terry. That guy, yeah. All right, hey.
I love
How'd
this
we
show.
get to this mess?
I don't know. Tell me.
Ignorance.
All right. Welcome back to the program. Look, I have to do something to entertain myself or I will snap. Chris Christie, Governor Chris Christie, New Jersey, you know that he's running for president. I'm going to talk straight to you here, okay? We have to do everything in our power to get him out of the race like we got Mayor Giuliani out of the race back in 2008. Rudy Giuliani was a baby-killing, gun-stealing, same-sex union supporter. He was a Democrat in Republican clothing, all right? Or maybe he was dressed in drag. He did Saturday Night Live, remember that? Anyway, Chris Christie is the same guy. All right, maybe he's two of the same guys. Can I make jokes about his substantial girth? Sure. All right, thank you. I don't normally pick on people who have substantial girth. But in Chris Christie's case, I will make an exception. But really and truly, if he was heavy and he was righteous, I don't care. A little problem with gluttony, if you know that it's wrong to kill a baby or that a marriage is between a man and a woman, then I'm okay with that. But this guy doesn't get it. Now, the Republican establishment, God save us from them, they want power, right? They want the presidency at all costs. They would wade through the blood of 1 million babies if they could get to the White House to do it. They would sound the church bells at 1,000 different same-sex unions if they could just get the White House back in their hands. They would betray every principle honored by God and man if they could just get power. And so, it's up to us, the little people, to say no, to write letters to the editor, to write blogs, to call in talk shows, and say that Chris Christie is a phony, okay? Chris Christie is a bad guy. He's not a good guy. Now, let me turn cameras. Let me turn to this camera here and make a really profound statement. Ethics matter more than power. On the day of judgment, you think God's going to whip open a book, start looking through the pages? Oh, I see here that you were able to get power. Very nice. Over here, you were able to get power. That's great. Yes. Now you only had to sacrifice 9 out of the 10 commandments, I see, in order to get power. How'd you keep that one? That's a mystery. But well done, good and faithful servant. You got power. You start at the day of judgment and you work back. Happy is the man who always has the day of his death before him. We think in our minds, with our words, we watch our tongue, we look at our behavior, all of it in the light of the day of judgment. But then you work backwards, okay? Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the scripture says. We want to have a nation that is led and served by righteous men and women. And it doesn't matter what party they're from. And we have to understand that the Republican establishment has spent billions of dollars to seduce Christians, to deceive Christians, so that we will be their lackeys. So that we'll vote for the Republican candidate, even if he is a baby-killing, gun-stealing, homosexual propagandist. So the question I have for you is, will you put principle ahead of party? Will you look to the day of judgment thinking, I'm going to give an account to God for my vote? Will you put babies' lives ahead of your own pocketbook? The time that we're going to have to get Christie out of this race is going to be early on in the primary season. We've got to do everything we can to sink his ship. And if I could make one more joke, I think it'll go down fast, given the weight of the cargo. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books on theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. It is better to have an ambitious plan than none at all. Sir Winston Churchill.
Mabel, get on in here quick. Terry Randall's going to tell us how we're supposed to raise our grandchildren. You know that Junior don't have a clue. Come in here, girl.
Time once again for Randall to meddle in family affairs. Children, it seems, have TVs in their rooms. A really big study just came out in the University of Canada, and they found that 70% of teenagers have televisions in their room. But it goes on. Video games, DVD players, and this. I'm going to call this a damnable device. And I want you to know that I say that with theological precision. This is an iPhone 3. Randall, you stinking hypocrite, why do you have one? I keep asking myself that. I really do. There are times that I turn it off, put it away, don't want it anywhere near me. I'm sick and tired of the intrusion that it brings into my life, but enough about me. Let's talk about these devices. What they found now listen to this, is that kids' bedrooms are no longer a safe place for children. They're getting texts all night long. They got their phone right next to them. Bzzz, phone goes, it's a text, then they have to read it. High drama. The kids are averaging 193 texts a week, okay? That's almost 30 texts a day for teenagers. This is causing young people to not be present to what they're doing, but way beyond that. It's destroying their souls. What is the only eternal thing that God gives you besides your own soul? There's only one. Literally, there's only one thing that we as human beings in this life can possess that is, or have any control over, any influence on, that is eternal besides our own soul. Yeah, our children. Our children. That's it. And when a little baby comes into the world and we have this precious, unique gift, never to be duplicated in time or eternity, this little child has an eternal soul. Our body will die. Our soul will live forever, the Catechism says. And it's true. All the stuff we have, a computer, piano, iPhone, desk, all this stuff, these cameras, all these lights that make this possible, it's all going to stay here. It's going to rust. It's going to rot in a landfill someday, okay? Children are the only eternal thing that God gives us. And I want you to think with me how much time we spend with the trinkets and the toys and these absurd, insane devices versus being truly focused on our children. We were a part of a swim team this last year, and I was dumbfounded to walk into these swim meets, okay, and see literally dozens of parents, probably 70 to 80% of them, that would be sitting there like this. They're parents who actually came, which is nice, but I guess they had to come because their kids weren't old enough to drive, right? And they're not present to their children. They're present to their smartphone, texting, watching videos. And then there were kids who had iPads and stuff. Boys coming to my boys saying, hey, come here, I want to show you something on YouTube. And my wife and I are saying, no, boys, sit down. You're not going with that boy. We don't know this kid. We don't know what he's going to show our kids on his iPad. And why did his parents allow him to have the iPad at that age? Unrestricted. Please just ponder what I'm saying. If you've got a child, if you have a child and in their room they have TV, just get it out. Just take it out. If they've got their own cell phone, take it away for certain times of the day. They don't need it at night. What do they need it for? The only eternal thing God gives us is our children. And we will give a far greater reckoning, a far greater accounting to our Maker with how we treat our children, what we do, what we failed to do, what we say, what we failed to say to them, than anything, any of these trinkets. So number one, push the trinkets out of your life and theirs. Number two, don't surrender your children to be raised by the trinkets.
When Mommy's BlackBerry gets all of the attention at home, 3-year-old Sebastian DeVoe takes charge.
Yeah, I know you have it. Sebastian.
Under the couch it goes, and Robin Savage knows she's to blame.
I'm kind of on 24/7. It's nonstop, yeah.
She even checks it in the middle of our interview. You're peeking.
Well, yeah, because I see the red light and the button.
Parents admit it's hard to do both things well.
You want to try the other one? I want to be the best mother I can to my children.
And she says she's working on it.
Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Because he cleaves to me in love, I will deliver him. I will protect him because he knows my name. When he calls to me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble and will rescue him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. But I never lost 1 minute of sleep, and now she's going to Switzerland anyway. All right, Tina Turner, did you hear? Do you remember the song Proud Mary? I just make this stuff up as I go. Ike and Tina Turner, it was a long time ago, and then she ditched Ike, and then she's been with Bach. We don't know if he's a famous descendant of the famous musician Johann Sebastian Bach, but she's been living in Switzerland for nearly a couple decades and decided that she would let go of her U.S. citizenship. Yes, Tina Turner is saying goodbye to her U.S. citizenship. Interestingly, almost 2,500 people did that last year. Now, 2,500 people is not a lot. In some ways, it's a drop in the bucket, but it shows that there are people that are starting to get fed up. Maybe it's the drip in the wall, that, you know, where they have to put your finger in the dike. Oh my goodness. What if the day happens when the Mexican president is complaining about American wetbacks, people swimming from Texas across the river? Gringo, you don't belong here. Hey, cracker. We don't want your wetback, we want your greenback. We want your money, but we don't want you. Go home. Illegal American immigrant. That I lost my Spanish accent there. You might have noticed that. That kind of went from Hispanic to sort of a Middle Eastern feel with a touch of Russian thrown in. And that's hard to do. Anyway, there are people that for economic reasons are getting a dual citizenship and then say, you know what, tax-wise it makes more sense if I say farewell to America. I'm going to close the show with this because I'm almost out of time. People used to really fight to get here. They still do. There's a lot of people who fight to come to America. But we're going to start to see a growing number of people who leave. Because in the historic narrative that is being written before our eyes about the great empire, we have an empire. The historic narrative that's being written, America has gone from being the fine, strapping, strong teenager, the soldier, the Marine, who saves the world from Nazism, comes out of isolation to save the world, has gone from being the strong teenager to the irresponsible, drunken adult. We're becoming the bad guy in the narrative. We're becoming the ones that export pornography, Planned Parenthood, birth control, child killing by abortion. We're becoming the bad guy in the narrative. And there is a God in heaven who judges men and nations. And friends, we're in a heap of trouble. And I frankly can't blame some people for leaving. I'm not ready to leave yet. I just want to fight to get the country back into the hands of righteous men and women. Please join me in that battle.